Hey everyone, it's Daniel here, and I wanted to bring you a little preliminary note on what exactly this gameplay is. About a month back, you might remember I was mentioning an event called Rydercycle, which was a charity Team Fortress 2 tournament where we got together a whole bunch of people in the community, played some sixes together, and raised some money for the British Red Cross. And I never actually followed that up or kind of talked about it on the channel since then. So what I thought I'd do today is bring you guys the VOD of the finals, which I was commentating with the man, the legend himself, Sigafoo, and just share it with you guys, really. This has been on GameCam's channel for a while, but I thought I'd rehost it for my own channel. And in the description for this as well, I'm going to set up some charity donation links for the next rally call that we have coming up for Child's Play. We're going to be doing an Overwatch one around this time next month, and of course you'll be seeing a trailer for that once we have some more information on it. But until then, I hope you guys enjoy the VOD. It was an absolute pleasure to be brought on for something like this. It's my very first time breaking into sort of like a commentating competitive scene like this. So, hope you guys enjoy it, because it was a hell of a lot of fun for me. There's 200 VODs that you can find for this on GameCam's channel as well as VODs with Chili of Destiny, the voice actor for the Scout himself, on his channel. There's going to be links to that in the description alongside the donation links, so please do check them all out. Enjoy the video.
Hey boys and girls, GameCam here, and we are back with the finals. Runyx's team versus Rydercycle's team is looking really exciting. Let me just kick off by quickly saying thank you to Lapis Trademark for the donation of £2. It's looking good. Every little helps as always. Really nice to know that people are trying to donate to support this. Obviously, I won't be commentating this. Commentating this will be veteran Sigafoo and other and RTGame here.
That's a great intro for and him. Don't worry about it though. You know, we got six.
I'm just the poor guy in the corner. Don't mind me.
RTGame with a voice like that, he can introduce himself. You don't need my help. Anyway, I'll leave it in your very capable hands. Obviously, we're getting the players in, and we'll hopefully start this out. I'll be in the background fiddling around, but I'll leave these guys to do the proper casting.
That's fair enough. Well, RT, is that like how your girlfriend introduces you? Like, oh, and this is RT. Like,
Sadly,
not even his boyfriend. Just literally, it's him. He's with me again. I don't know why.
Yeah, he won't go away. He just keeps following me. Oh, sadly, I wish there wasn't a semblance of truth in that. No. It's great to be here with you tonight, man.
Yeah, absolutely excited to be out here. I mean, I hear you've been casting diligently throughout today, and we're kind of coming into the finals here of this EU-NA mixture. At least we switched servers here. The EU team was having some trouble when it comes to the ping, and only one person is up in the 150. Everybody else is in a much more reasonable, mid to low hundreds, which should make it for a much more exciting game. But kind of running into this, I mean, however the game's been so far, it seems like kind of I had it in the background. I was watching, I was listening, I was contemplating. It seems like some teams are just going to have some fun with it. Maybe like doing some off-classy Market Gardener I saw was busted out at some point. Like, how are the games been for you?
Yeah. Well, it's been really fun watching them. And yes, there has indeed been a lot of the off-class Market Gardener. I think the highlight in particular was the match against Funk and Rydercycle's teams, where both of them assumed to be fat scouts and just took out their shotguns as heavies and refused to use their miniguns for the entire duration of the round. And it was like an agreed upon thing before the match had even begun, but it was just really fun to watch. In general, it's been really tough back and forth rounds. Again, particularly that one between Funk and Rydercycle, it was a real tug of war for a very long time. Runyx had a lot more success when it came to his team in the last round just there, going complete 5-0. But it's been some good games tonight, and we've seen a lot of just really nice plays as well.
So hopefully we'll be able to get to see some more, as we do have 12 into the server, so that ready up should be happening pretty soon. But again, guys, don't forget to get your donation out here. Lap is trademark. Gotta give the man some props. Most recent donation here. I don't know what an odd name. Lap is trademark. Of all the things to be trademarked, it's Lap. I don't know. That's a bit of an I don't know. I'm sure people are going to be tossing in some crazy names just to be probably seen like that. But either way, I don't know. It's always fun like that to get your name in that bottom right-hand corner. But, so how did you get involved into this, JT? What pulled you into this charity organization today?
Well, GameCam just mentioned it like to me quite a while back. That he just wanted to organize sort of like a big community event, get as many people together as he possibly could. And just from that, I was just really signed up for it. It's like that sounds like an awesome thing to do. And it's also British Red Cross. Like we have like our Irish variant here. It's a good cause.
Absolutely.
Main reason I'm here tonight.
Yeah, and GameCam, I know you're chilling back here. I'd love to hear if you want to jump in here for a second of like what got you involved in this, or if you can talk a little bit about that before we get this game going live. Yeah, GameCam, if you can jump back. I'd love to hear, yeah.
Well, it's a long and fickle tale with many a twist and many a jump scare. But I was just wandering around, minding my own business. Just got off the bus, watching a bit of Team Fortress 2, watching a bit of XTV with Eckstein casting, and generally, enjoying myself. And then I saw an interesting sight. There was a homeless man sitting on the side of the road. And I saw a flock of teenagers, as you see these days. Obviously, it was before Pokemon Go, so they were just on Twitter. And they were all just sort of migrated around this fellow. And I thought, that's such a horrible thing to see, that these people, they're not even looking up from their phones. They just walk straight past him. And I just thinking, you know what? I sit here every day, playing these games, go home, enjoy myself, have an absolute blast with these guys. And obviously, before I'd organised some pub events where I got some YouTubers together just to play in some pubs, just for a bit of a laugh. But I thought, maybe we can do something constructive here. And I was just, determined to try and get that out. And I was trying to think how to do it, but then obviously I realised I was watching Sixes. So I was like, well, I can just pull this off and try to do something less. Because I saw Tip of the Hats do it, and I go, well, you know what? If they could do it, why can't I? So I thought I would give it a try, and so far it's working out pretty well. And I mean, I think this is not just a testament to how the community can pull together. It's just a testament to what people can do. As much as I'd like to say that I did this to be to really help the kids and stuff, but I actually did it just to prove that everyone else that said I couldn't do it. Just to really give them the middle finger, but I'm really proud that we've actually raised some money and it's really going to a good place. And I think it's just I really want to keep this going and keep this series going. Obviously, this is the first time we've done it. It's never really been done before. It has been done before, but never by just a bunch of people getting together. Obviously, Tip of the Hats had a bit more time and a bit more money on their side. Obviously, the budget of this was nothing, basically. I think I had a couple of buttons in my pocket, but that was about it. It's just really people coming together and doing their part, which is incredible. So it's really good. And I obviously, this is the first time. Hopefully next time we can organise a bit better, learn from this, and make a bigger one for next time. Hopefully raise more money. But if we can raise any money this time, it will be massive and really help out. Motivate us to make the next one as big as possible. I know that was incredibly long, and for those of you that muted me, you can unmute me now because I'm done, and I'll leave it back to you guys to carry on.
Well, then, no, it's yeah, exactly. No, it's always good to hear kind of the thought process going on behind it. Thank you so much for jumping in here. As I said, we got 12 in there. We've had 12 for quite a while, so hopefully, I don't know what they're quite waiting on to get going here, but I'm pretty excited. I mean, Gully Wash is a pretty fun back and forth map. The last pushes can be pretty exciting, just given the fact that you can kind of attack it from multiple points. I mean, do you like Gully Wash's map, JT?
No, I do. Gully Wash is just
RT. I'm sorry, man. I'm like, I mean that's well. I'm thinking you're Justin Timberlake because of just how sexy you are. But then I'm like, wait, no, it's end RT, right? It wasn't. RT, so it could. There's no way you could be Justin Timberlake because nobody would introduce you as N Justin Timberlake. That would never be. So RT, I'm sorry. Anyways, how do you feel about Gully Wash?
It's a very smooth recovery there, man. Gully Wash is pretty great. Like it's just a standard sort of like 5 capture point map, and definitely the pushes on the last point I think are always the highlight of this because you always have teams sort of like turtling up, and you always have that one guy who always goes like down the back route, sort of under the map, which is just always interesting to kind of capitalize on. It's not the most traveled path, but when people go for it, it makes for some interesting matchups.
Yeah, well, I think it's like one of those things where it's like the point is on the final point is pretty well covered, and so like the thing I like about it is that whenever you push onto the point, especially if you can get like an Uber person or like an Ubered scout or have somebody go from underneath the point, you create this like distraction play instantly that happens versus like something like Snakewater or Granary. Granary is kind of the opposite example where the point is completely exposed to everybody. So like as soon as you jump on it, like somebody can shoot you from somewhere more than likely. Whereas if Gully Wash, if you're fighting from like Shutter and you have somebody on the point, there's going to have to like a split focus that happens. And I kind of always enjoyed that. But here's a ready up's going to be happening. The countdown is live and we should be going. And yes, we are.
I think we're set to go. This should be great. Rydercycle team versus Runyx. Both these teams have done remarkably well in previous rounds, so I think this is going to be a very between the two. I'm pretty excited to see how this goes.
Yeah, we're on the UGC config as well as the UGC config for weapons as we come out onto this mid fight as the blue team's actually be trying to get across the point. Scout jumping in, gonna go for the soldier. Disgruntled goes down, and Death Knell is gonna be pushed back here as the heavy's actually pushing up the right-hand side, eating a lot of damage. He's actually should get taken out. And the medic goes down as well, and the blue team just cleaning up.
Ooh, that's some really heavy trades to start off this match. My god. Red team trying to get sort of like a flank push in on the side, but it simply did not work. Rest of the blue team just turned around and completely shut them down. This is a strong start for blue, and red team's gonna have to rally together quite quickly.
Yeah, they are. I mean, it's just, it kind of seemed like the red team was just maybe a little bit discoordinated, which, you know, is kind of expected in these events. But, you know, you had the soldier get just easily picked off one by one. Running a heavy to mid isn't the worst thing in the world, but you definitely need to slow down here. It looks like they want to push into last right away.
Yeah, they're not even like kind of rushed down to the second point. They've just kind of turtled up here. They even have an additional going engineer here, trying to build up his sentry. Sadly, it's not going to have much luck as Soldier is just going to take it out from a distance, but they're already like playing the defensive, and they're going to need to try and push out of here as soon as they can. Blue team is just sort of rearing up to have a push. Runyx has his Uber ready to go, and he's now entering, popping it on purple match.
Coming in here as he's going down onto the point. ×4, actually. They have 4 people onto the point, but the heavy's coming back. He's going to be able to defend this, and now it's the medic going down. Only the respawn is going to be alive here with so much on here. This could potentially mean a back cap if red team is not careful, but it looks like they want to push out right away, correctly so.
Yeah, we have the scouts just marching immediately forward. Jub is trying to get in as fast as he can just to try and ward him off the point, but it looks like they might just be able to cap this as the scout is hiding in the corner there. That's very nice for red team. Takes off pressure from that last point immediately. Hopefully this means they can push that back out to mid relatively soon. Although the blue team seems to be coming in a bit from the side here. Solar, like, with his Runyx as his medic. Rydercycle is on him immediately, just trying to take him out. Prioritizing Solar Light instead of the medic, but getting them both regardless. That is very nicely done. That flank again shut down.
Never doubt a heavy with a medic up his ass. Like that's the thing you learn right there. It's like, hey, look at this heavy. I have a medic and I'm a soldier and I can kill you. No. I'm a heavy. I have a medic. You're gonna die. This is how this works. And right now, the red team doing a good job pushing back out onto that midpoint after securing so many kills. And what should have been probably a retake by the blue team, but it was Rydercycle who ended up defending, doing a lot of the defending right now. And with Classy sitting up at 99%, looks like they want to push through right now, and they might do just that as the heavy coming through this choke hand site, eating a lot of damage, and finally gets the Uber popped off onto him. The Dumbman's going to be jumping away as the medic's hiding behind the rock. Should be easily cleaned up here, down incredibly low. 3 players already down for the blue team as the Devilman Solar is back up against a sniper up there, but he should be easily taken out as well with the soldier pushing onto him. But the Jub is going to jump in here, but he's probably just going to get punished for it. Yes, he does. Trying to get out through the shutter. Now Solar, the only one forward and alive, needs to just be able to escape with his life, you would hope, and Death Knell is going to try to punish him for that, but almost ends his own. And there you go. Nice retake of that second point.
That was very cleanly done. They just all grouped together and immediately went for it, warded that blue team back. They seem to be waiting for their own team to rally up a bit here, and they're not really advancing on the second point just yet. They seem to be lurking a bit back, waiting for the red team to strike first, and we can kind of see that happening as Classy and Nano coming inside here. Unfortunately, it doesn't go terribly well, so Trade is certainly just immediately picks off Nano, and Rydercycle is down in the basement and just immediately knocked that over. Solar is just pushing them back, and these guys have already anticipated that they're trying to just flank around and cap that point. They are having none of it today, and all we have left on the red team now is one lone soldier. Poor disgruntled cow.
may be a little bit angry because he's the only one last alive, and he gets easily cleaned up there by 3 players who surround him, doing a little bit of a tipping or something right there. As the blue team is going to be pushing back out onto this point, Runyx sitting at 75%. Big door, seeing a lot of the red players right now, but the point does ultimately go down in favor of blue. But red team, they're not looking like they want to give this up, but they have to be careful because it looks like they're going to be wrapped right now. As a scout getting onto this midpoint, but he has a soldier right behind him, easily going to get cleaned up. But actually, purple's going to be running into this heavy. The red team's actually running a heavy right now, but the Uber does come off from the blue team. They're going to be coming down through this area. The heavy down incredibly low, has a shotgun out, easily gets cleaned up. Disgruntled coming in over the top, trying to take down the sniper, does do that, but he should trade with his life. Actually, he's going to be able to stay alive, but the blue team will come down with the midpoint. And the medic, I believe, stayed alive through that entire exchange as well. But here comes the red team trying to contest, but it's not going to be for really much, as there are a ton of blue players alive.
Yeah, red team really needs to sort of regroup around this central point, because blue has just got it a bit under lockdown as it currently stands. They are also sort of going by the second control point here. Blue is not mounting too much of an assault just yet, although they are mounting up now on Rydercycle, who is just kind of mounting typical heavy defense. Classy has got the minigun ready on his back, but unfortunately he takes just a bit too much damage as he pushes a bit too far forward, taken out by Cold War.
And Classy gets taken out there, so no medic here on the defensive side. Disgruntled jumping in, gets a nice shot against the wall. Not quite an air shot, but you know, it's something like that as he gets cleaned up there by the soldier jumping in onto him. The blue point, oh, sorry, the second point goes down into the favor of blue with Runyx sitting at 100%. And they could wait for respawns, or they could just, you know, go straight in. I mean, they got what they need.
They do indeed, and they seem to be just going straight in as is. Very nice sort of demo kill at the door there with just the stickies lined up. Sort of just kind of taking a couple of pot shots at each other, not advancing too much because the teams aren't really grouped up yet. Solar is going to go down to Disgruntled Cow, but killed in return by Z Cold War, which is quite nice. Jub pressing quite far forward, now being forced to retreat because his health is simply far too low, and red team is again just playing it defensively and kind of waiting for their team to just come back a little bit.
Well, Disgruntled actually dropped Runyx there, I believe, or yeah, that was a drop out of Runyx in the river side. Really nice bomb by him to be able to secure this for the red team. It looks like they're going to be wanting to push out right now, but they do lose their sniper in this upper area. Solar's going to jump up to try to contest the enemy combo, but opts to drop back down wisely slow, probably, as the red team is going to get a little bit buffed or stuffed in here, but they do have 100% Uber if they want to use them. They might just do that as the blue team's pushing right into him. Purple is going to be able to get out alive with his life, but here comes the other soldier jumping into that Uber combo. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it doesn't matter. It's Disgruntled Cow still going to try to defend his Doman. Here's Jub still somehow still alive so far forward. Finally does go down. Uber is used, and it was used successfully, but the back cap is on. Z ultimately gets taken out. The heavy, who is staying back there wisely so, able to defend that. And the second point goes back in this back and forth matchup on Gullywash.
It's been quite the tug of war indeed. It's very nice that Rydercycle was there just to protect the back cap, escaping just a narrow sliver of health. Back in the mid, the fight does seem to be continuing as blue is mounting sort of like a push back onto it, just to make sure it's defended. There doesn't seem to be enough red team on the scene to properly deal with this. Rydercycle is still kind of making his way over. We've only got a demo and a scout on the point currently, but they are going down very, very quickly just from the overwhelming numbers that blue has here. Rydercycle is being forced to retreat almost instantly, just realize that there's 6 enemies in his face and he's but 1 man. And he's still taking a lot of damage even in that retreat. They're sort of going back, possibly even going back further than the second control point here. I'm not even sure if they're going to mount in defense with this. It doesn't seem... They're taking the high ground to launch a couple of rockets off on it. Now seem to be going back for it. Bit uncertain for a moment there, though, if they were going to retreat fully back to last or just forfeit the second.
Well, blue team seem to be asking out a girl in a really nervous way. They just couldn't really decide what they wanted to do and opted to kind of really just do nothing as they sent kind of players one by one. I mean, the red team trying to fight out from the lobby area doesn't tend to be too good of an idea. It's just even an overwhelming force to be a dumb man to be able to stick this off as a scout tries to push into a revved up heavy. That's never going to end up in something good. We do have Z hiding onto this midpoint, but I'm surprised about the passive play out of the red team. They secured a couple kills, but I guess they did for nothing as Jub tosses out the LOL. Here comes a soldier, disgruntled cow, actually double bomb in, as well as a heavy Uber from underneath. Everybody went drop down. They did not even know that was happening. As actually the blue medic does drop one player, not able to grab onto him. Purple is going to be coming behind Rydercycle. Actually decides to back out here. As Z is going to do a back cap onto the second point as well as with the soldier. So even though the heavy is securing kills onto the midpoint, it doesn't really matter as a back cap will go down. And Rydercycle is trying to decide what he wants to do, but they ultimately need to just back up because they're not going to be able to secure this midpoint.
There's not enough of them at the front currently. All the team still has to rally up, and the blue team is already here on the scene. I think Rydercycle is starting to realize that and maybe backing away just a bit, particularly so now that his medic is down. It's just one man trying to defend this point now, and I think he realizes that he's fallen back. He's got the shotgun out, trying to escape from Jub, who is going hot in pursuit past the point. Red team now kind of needs to mount a bit more defense on that second point, I would say, as it's only Ryder at the front line still. The backup is not really arriving, it would appear. Just managing to hold off as well, which is very, very nice.
This heavy seems to be doing a good job currently out of 10 kills. He picked up a 3K right there. I mean, I don't know about you, but heavy is just such an underwhelming class. You know, people, they say it's nerfed so hard, but I don't know. He keeps getting kills anyways. Maybe I'm just crazy. But here we go. Go ahead.
Oh, we've definitely seen some impressive heavy plays tonight. And now we're having a bit of war unfolding at the mid as the soldiers are just jumping in. Fall and explode. The Moni makes contact with the ground there. My god. Red team sort of trapped in the corridor here as blue team sort of just kind of overwhelms it. Runyx is here just simply to support them all. And I can't really push back too far right now. Classy being chased by the scout as well, and the medic is also down. Now blue is just really capitalizing on their advance here, and second point is now starting to be captured. Red team only has a single scout left towards the point, and it looks unlikely that he is going to be able to hold on here, but he takes down one more before he goes, which is quite impressive considering the circumstances.
Yeah, he took the girl to the dance, and wow, that was some of the best dancing I've ever seen. Even there was 5 players just shooting at Death Knell, and he's like, I'm just going to just do a little bit of a jig. You know, maybe he's just listening to the Harlem Shake. I don't know. I'm out of the times. I'm not up to date with the current music. God damn you, kids. But either way, they do come down with the second point. Rydercycle with that heavy class is pushing up. He wants to make a play, maybe drop down onto the blue team, who's holding into the big door, maybe a little bit too passive. As a scout, it's going to be pushing up onto his second point alone. Here comes Purple over the top, focusing down this heavy, and finally does go down. That's a big pick, because we've even seen how much work Rydercycle has been doing all game right now. As they do pick up one more, they need to do something more here. Here comes Disgruntled Cow, trying to get onto the medic. Runyx down incredibly low, just needs a little bit of focus to be able to secure the kill here. This isn't Overwatch. You don't know unless you communicate it. And here we go. Amy ultimately goes down as well. So 3 players down for the red side. And both Megs will have 100% Uber, but it depends on... we haven't seen a successful push yet. So see what they want to do is the blue team wants to come in here. And here comes the final push with the Uber charge.
You know, we've not seen a successful push yet, but they're definitely going for it now. Both Ubers have been popped. Rydercycle is on that last point, defending it on holding it for his life. Runyx is forced to retreat and does not quite make it away. They manage to repel him by popping their Uber just a tad later. Scout trying to go for a sneaky cap, and oh my god, he actually gets it. That was quite surprising.
Well, you know, it's like I was talking about in pregame. I mean, it's the great thing about Gully Wash is you can, if you don't have someone who has direct eyes on that cap, you can really make a play. And a scout who just walked onto the point, that's all he needed to do. Is looks like we have a weird leg issue, but it's okay because we're still coming out to the mid fight. Second mid fight coming up here. The first one was easily won by the red team, if I recall correctly. And looks like it's going to be the blue team who's going to be coming out superior this time. Though Z's actually taking down that player, Disgruntled Cow, who tried to jump in. Runyx did go down, so no medic here for the blue team, but with only 3 players alive for the red side, they shouldn't be able to do much, but, you know, they also have a revved up heavy, so that seems to be working out pretty well for them today, too.
They do indeed have that revved up heavy, and nice thing is Deathknell managed to get a lot of damage off on the upcoming blues coming from the corridor there. So now Rydercycle's work is kind of cut out for him as he just has to finish off the already weakened blue team. Jub is kind of extending a bit too far forward here, it would seem, by himself, but he's managing to hold on. Problem is that he needs to get back to that midpoint before it's capped, and Ryder is still on it. He's launching off a couple of rockets, and Ryder is forced to go to his shotgun, trying to escape with his life there. Jub's still managing to hold his own, but unfortunately now being attacked by the scout. But blue team backup is now here. They've kind of all grouped a bit together. Soldiers jumping on the point once again. There's a lot of exchanges happening here. My god.
Yeah, the blue team finally retaking it for themselves. I don't know, I feel like the blue team needs to take some Ritalin so they can just learn how to frickin' focus, because the heavy should not be doing as nearly as much of work as he can. As Classy's going to get caught out here, a little bit of a bad position, as well as Nano's going to go down as well, gets easily cleaned up just outside of his lobby area. Second point going down in the favor of the blue side here. With 5 players alive, 60% uber charge, they should be able to push into this final point if they want to, as blue team is also currently up 1-0, and it tends to be once you win one round, it tends to make everything that much easier, as blue team is also the European side, so they're doing a pretty good job at a little bit of a ping disadvantage. Only a couple of them are actually above 100 ping, so not too bad for them. We'll see how they want to push this as they come up to 90%.
Yeah, they seem to be holding back for a moment, just trying to get the team together, debating the routes that they're going to take. They seem to be committing to the bottom, but unfortunately, Flanking Soldier is going to immediately come down, forcing the Runyx to pop his Uber, perhaps a little too soon. This may ruin the push overall. They're still trying to go for it, still all grouped together, but they're all in a very injured state, and the red team is still in very good health and managing to repel them. They are pushing on the last point now. Soldier has the high ground demos on as well, but they're all hopping on that last point immediately, and they do manage to take it. My god.
Team wipe.
It's amazing how fast just the end of the round can go like that when they all mob up on that final point. It's really, the explosions just amplified in that small little room that is the last point.
Well, that's just it. Is like as soon as you have someone on the point, I think that creates a lot of. You can use that to your advantage in a lot of different ways. As they come out onto this third midpoint, T-Aim is going to go. Is going to go down right away. Runyx actually is going to get caught off here. He has a player on each side. We have Disgruntled Cow actually going Scout now, who was previously Soldier. And we'll see if that's going to work out for them right now, as both teams only have 3 players live. Make that 2v3 as Z down to just 10 HP, trying to beat Disgruntled Count. Tammy is Jane. Okay, good to know. And there you go. Red team is going to be taking down this midpoint, as Cerny is the only one left alive, but he is behind enemy lines, so he might be able to make a play off of that.
Yeah, he's surprisingly far forward, but he's holding on to the position, not revealing himself yet. Now getting into a bit of a scout duel, just simple one-on-one. Oh, but the rest of the team seems to be aware of it instantly, and down he goes. Any opportunity that was to be had is now gone. Blue team's now advancing back up again from the side corridor here. They seem to be playing it a bit more tactical here, and have actually taken to the high ground, possibly waiting for the red team to march on forward.
We'll see what they want to do, and I think the Sticky Trap is spotted there by Jane, who's just trying to get it to pop or something like that, but opts just to back out. Red team currently is at a slight uber disadvantage, as the blue side is opting just to kind of hold passively. As actually they're going to be pushing through this big door side. Here comes a revved up heavy. He's going to be doing what he can, but with the high ground coming from the explosive classes. Down goes the mech. Down goes the heavy. Down goes the Devilman as well. Yes, he gets cleaned up. Only 2 players left alive right now, and they're going to be coming through choke. Here comes Disgruntled Cow, but easily gets cleaned up there by Purple. Now it's Death Maul, and that is a team wipe going in the favor of the blue team, as they're going to march onto the blue point and should continue to march onto the second point as well.
Oh, that is incredibly nicely done, but they appear to be neglecting the midpoint, it would seem. They're more concerned with the enemy team and just pressing their advantage, perhaps waiting for the scout to backcap it there, and as indeed is going to unfold. Trying to press their advantage as much as they can here, though, and just prevent the red team from mobilizing a solid defense. Although they are still mounting a resistance. All four of their team are here, and they've had to pop their Uber as well in retaliation just to stay alive on this point, as a lot of explosives are being fired this way. But they are still pushing on very, very strong and meeting that resistance, and it looks like they're going to cap second as well. So red team is going to have to mount a defense on that final point, it would seem.
With 2 respawns up for another 10 seconds, if blue team goes in right now, they're going to have a nice 2-player advantage, as just a couple are coming up right now. Jane not sure what class they want to come back on. His Jub is going to jump onto his point alone, as probably a mistake, as now they're going to be sitting on a 13-second respawn. Cerny caught in this secret area, going to easily get cleaned up by the Pyro as well. So a couple solo pushes onto this final point. It kind of shows you where the blue team can go wrong despite being up 2-0. Disgruntled Cow does go down to his Sticky Trap, so nice job there, as at least kind of holding off until they want to push in. Here comes Death trying to make a play onto the Delman. Actually, Solar down incredibly low, but Z cleans up Death. So there you go. Death. I just say Death. That's good. Anyways, it's look just some back and forth here, just poking and prodding, but down goes Nano as well. So 3 players down for the red team. This should prompt a push out of blue.
It definitely looks like they've been going for a couple of daring pokes just to get some more damage off on the blue. Now it might play to their disadvantage, as the blue team is simply going to mob them. Uber is popped, and red team is going to struggle to come back from that, as the point is instantly captured. My god. They went for a couple of pokes before, but it did not pay off too well. They were simply too injured when the final push came, and that is a real shame.
Yeah, I mean, it tends to be in the situations when you're holding on to last is that you need to bend, not break. And, I think just some good plays by the blue team, just using their superior DM in that situation to be able to win it. As we come off onto the fourth mid-kite fight, currently 3-0 in the favor of the blue team as they are walking across this point. Here comes Death, trying to jump onto the Demo Man, actually, but eats a lot of damage. Rydercycle able to secure that kill. He's been the saving grace of the red team, but he's been just getting focused down so much more recently, as both teams only have 4 players alive, but with that heavy, not able to secure ground too quickly. So here comes, he's going to run into Jub. Jane gets cleaned up by Jub as well there, and Jub should, no, he gets a kill under Rydercycle. Nice play there, killing them, and this should be probably taking it all the way as Classy goes down as well.
That was very nicely done. The cleanup on Classy there was very clean as well. Blue team is definitely going to be able to just occupy this second point here. Red team debating if they want to rush forward, but it seems to be that they're going to just wait and regroup at the last point. Not enough of them forward to mount any reasonable defense. Nano seemed a bit tempted there, but blue team is going to be pressing on to that final point now. Damage happening up in the higher up corridors. They're definitely trying to pick off as many of the red team as they can before going for that final push once again. It's paid off well for them in the past, and we definitely have a scout and definitely going to go for it again. Scout duels kind of unfolding in these narrow corridors, and just a couple of one-on-one matches and pokes happening more than anything, as the all-important Ubers are being charged for both teams. I reckon we're going to see a clash of Ubers popping in just a moment following all these pokes.
I don't know how 2 players just died who were passively holding in lobby from rocket damage, but that's a new one. That's a new one. You're just like, I'm just going to chill here. My medic's standing right next to me. I'm eating some light damage, and I'm going to just die. As we are seeing, actually, Runyx going to get forced off here in this lobby side, but a couple frags did go down in the favor of the blue team. They're going to try to run all the way into last year as they did bring the sniper into this final push. I'm not sure how useful that's going to be here as Deathnell seeing this upper hand side heavy beneath the point as Nano goes down as well. Deathnell is going to jump onto the Demo Man. Easily gets cleaned up here. Only the 2 players alive, just the medic and the heavy. It's actually the vaccinator onto the heavy, who's just, that explosive damage is not enough. Not enough different damage sources to be able to defend this. Here comes the Demo Man onto the point. He goes down as well. The vaccinator doing absolute work with the sniper in secret. He's not seen right now. The shotgun is out onto the purple, but he's going to run into a couple respawn classes. Yes, he finally goes down. Runyx is going to be able to get away with his life, but the vaccinator, the meta-changing vaccinator, is working out in the favor as they were able to keep the heavy alive and defend that point.
That's a very interesting switch that they made mid-game to swap out the regular medigun for the vaccinator, but it definitely paid off there because most of the blue team's damage is coming from explosives. Having it out on that final point is definitely going to help them. Blue team is sort of mobilized around the second point now, and sort of again just red team trying to poke out and just get a bit of chip damage off on them. Doesn't seem to be paying off too well currently, and they are sort of hesitating to leave the spawn as the soldiers are keeping an eye on that doorway. It seems that they're all just kind of lined up and watching it more than anything. Detonal coming in from the side here, though, and realizing that they all are just kind of sitting on the higher ground. He's going to try and capitalize on this on best they can. They seem to be mobilizing, though, as the Uber has been popped, and they are going to start pressing on forward with what little remains of that. May have been popped too soon to actually have an impact on the final point, but that is not going to stop them nonetheless. Red team is also like turtled up and just about to leave their spawn. Mount a bit more defense, it would seem.
Yeah, we had that was disgruntled Tennis Cow who got the force off onto the medic there, so making it so that the blue team did not have a good Uber charges there. Vaccinator medic still up on Classy right now, but seems to be working out as okay as a Job, is going to be jumping in there as Deathnell is going to try to follow him out, try to secure a kill, but actually just Cow is the one who ends up getting cleaned up there as all of the players are still alive on the blue side, holding on to just about 60% Uber charge, so not too much longer until they're going to be able to be fully pushed in onto this final point. But the red team has to be careful just not to have to lose players just like they did with Tennis Cow. And Jub's going to be pushing in here. A lot of damage down onto the Nano there as they lose the Demo Man. The soldier as well. Classy dancing for his life, trying to keep himself alive, but he does go down. Here comes Jub underneath of the point, but a lot of pressure coming in from the Riverside. Rydercycle down incredibly low as we have Purple jumping in here. The Pyro onto the back burner gets cleaned up. Rydercycle just needs a rocket, and there you go. He goes down. Z going onto the point ×2. Nano trying to defend it, but he gets popped up the air. 4-0 as the first half goes down in the favor of the blue team.
That was quite the impressive 4-0 indeed. Red team simply took a lot of damage in that last encounter. None of them seemed to be in too great of a state to come the final of it, but that was quite the exciting first round, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, they did a good job just kind of focusing down the medic and, because, I mean, that's basically, they had a kill. They took down the Pyro, who was playing, that was Disgruntled Cow. And then they were able to, so the Pyro was one of the defensive classes to be able to protect the medic, probably playing a little bit in the pocket role. And then, yeah, I mean, your medic, you just had a scout run onto the medic and probably, it just was a really good job. Also, I mean, because they're splitting damage. Because if you're running the Vaccinator, you just need to make sure that you're sending, you're putting in 2 damage sources onto the medic or the player who's doing just that. And I think it was a soldier and the scout who kind of put that together. But let me see if I can bring up the logs here to kind of see if there's any interesting stat lines that are going on in this game.
That sounds like a good plan. We just have some sort of like mock engagements as we're waiting for the start of this second round. What do you think of like the choice of Vaccinator on Medic though? Because that is something that I don't think I expected to see tonight. I've seen pretty much every medic having that standard medigun. What do you think about this decision that was sort of made mid-match?
I mean, it worked in that situation, right? Like, if they were running an Uber charge, they would have lost in that situation because the medic was not going to be able to get an Uber charge in time. But overall, I mean, I don't know, like, it could be interesting. I mean, really kind of just seems like, how can we get Ryder to keep alive? Like, that just seems to me, the red team is just like, all right, what medigun do we need to run to make sure that our heavy doesn't die? Because if he dies, we die. Like, it seems to be, Rydercycle, I mean, if you look even at the stat lines right now, so looking at the logs, I mean, Rydercycle top fragged in the entire game with 34 frags. The closest one to him was Z, Jub, and Solar Light, who are all on the opposite team. So his team's really not doing nearly as much work as him. And I mean, that also just kind of comes down to the heals being so heavily focused on Ryder. I mean, he has 42% of the heals. So I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. Certainly, switch up mediguns. When it comes to Highlander, I'm kind of a zealot where I'm like Uber charge, crits trigger nothing. But when it comes to the 6s, I don't know. I feel like especially when you're not playing at like, in a completely high level, when you're not playing at Invite, I think a lot more kind of like gimmicky kind of strategies can work, especially if your team can play around you successfully. And it just kind of didn't feel like the red team was doing that. I mean, do you like it when teams kind of get a little bit gimmicky when it comes to their strategies, when it comes to mediguns or just in general?
I mean, it's definitely creative, and it can catch like an unaware team just a bit off guard, because let's face it, you're not expecting to be put up against that when you hop into it. But it definitely seemed to pay off here. I really do think that Rydercycle is the focal point for this team. They sort of base their strategy around him leading the charges and leading the defenses and prioritizing keeping him alive above all else. He's really just kind of standing out for his team and really just putting in an awful lot of work. And for a heavy as well, in like this environment, it is really remarkable to see that. The man definitely knows his stuff. He's a heavy main true and true.
All right, I have an idea for the red team then. This is what they should do. All right, they should do a medic, 2 scouts, 2 pyros, and Rydercycle on heavy. And the entire strategy is that they just literally protect Rydercycle. It's like you have the scouts to kind of like go forward a little bit, but will back up. And they just kind of, you have the pyros to be able to reflect any damage that comes in. And literally it's like this force field of damage and protection to just keep Rydercycle alive. If they do that, I think they have a chance. And maybe, it's like the Mighty Ducks or something. Maybe like, create a new meta. I'm just putting it out there. 6s, I'm blowing your minds as a Highlander player. You're welcome. You're welcome for these amazing strategy ideas.
I'm definitely sure everyone in the stream appreciates this mind-boggling concepts for a 6s format. It's definitely an interesting idea to base the entire team around a heavy in that way. It's like dedicate everyone to that cause. It's a really neat idea, and who knows if it could actually work, because they seem to be having relative success with it tonight, which is just amazing to watch unfold. Like, we've definitely had a lot of standout heavy players tonight. Like, Funk was playing heavy earlier in one of his matches against Rydercycle, and he was the standout for the team as well. We also had Critical Beef in the previous game representing Nerox, and while he had a bit of like connection issues during the match, he still managed to put in quite a bit of work and just capitalizing on taking soldiers out of the air. Heavies have shined out in particular tonight, which is really remarkable to see.
And I think definitely heavies, I mean, we kind of see in matchmaking where heavies can be pretty powerful. But here we come out onto the first mid-fight of the second half. Deathgate actually getting a nice pipe onto Z there. As looks like Jane is going to be taking down Cerny, as well as Jub going down as well, but at least traded with Death Knell. As Disgruntled Tennis Cow goes down, and here we go. looks like the blue team is looking in a pretty good position, but Rydercycle is actually disconnected from this medic, and actually Classy's going to have to barely be able to keep it alive, but Nano coming down the Pyro class does clean him up to be able to keep Classy alive, but not enough to try to contest this midpoint that goes down in the favor of the blue team.
Yeah, they only have a very slight defense now for that second point. I'm not sure if they're even going to commit to it. Classy seems to be sort of backing away, but we still have Nano quite far forward and trying to contest the blue team as they come out of this corridor here, waiting for that backup to arrive as Detonol is now charging forward as Dow laying down a couple of stickies and simply trying to prevent the blue team from using that corridor. And the tactics seems to be working off because they're very hesitant. Purple matches even trying to clear the stickies as he goes. The blue team is definitely struggling to get out of that corridor. They're going to instead go around the side here. Rydercycle is immediately on them, kind of catching onto their flank, and he's able to defend them the side quite nicely as he does have a pocket under his belt. Blue team's going to press forward though, unfortunately take him out as he's sort of pincered in from both sides. Classy is kind of out on his own here. I don't know how much he's realistically going to be able to accomplish as he's separated from the rest of his team. There's no real connection that he can go for. He's going to have to latch onto the scout and sort of like a desperate effort, but it's brought too much attention to him. He's now trapped behind a rock and just being singled out by Solar Light. This doesn't look terribly good for Classy right now, but he's hanging in there.
Just maybe hang in there, baby. Not much longer though. Ultimately does go down, and like 95%. That would have been amazing if he's able to sustain enough to be able to capture, to be able to get the Uber to be able to pop that off here. But the scout does kind of sneak cap this. He's actually going to run all the way to last. Oh no! The mid-air pipe right there as he's trying to escape away. Nice job out of Death Knell to be able to secure that kill, stop the back cap from going down, and the second point will go back in the favor of the red team as the medic does just come back up. So both medics about even Uber because Runyx went down as well, I believe. So there we go. Red team, and they kind of look like they want to go through as they're going to be pushing to this big door hand side. Runyx down on the ground, going to get cleaned up here. Yes, he does finally with a little bit help of the flames. Nano trying to run that shotgun as Jane getting down some of those laser pistols. Trying to get some damage down as well, but no medic live here. We should just see the red team start to bully themselves out, but they need to do it together. And right now they're just doing it one by one, and that's the problem is they lose 2 players right now. Only 3 players alive now for the red team, and now Classy gets caught out from the flank because nobody's up on the flank side because everybody's dead. And now it's just Ryder, and he should be taken out. And there you go. The blue team doing a good job, but it comes down to the red team just doing a much worse job in the bottle, the insult, the bottle kill.
Red team, definitely an insulting way to die. Poor Ryder. Red team definitely seemed a little bit disorganized there, but maybe they didn't get it together as they're all turtled around for the last point here. Blue is definitely pressing the advantage as much as they can. They're just kind of backing up again, trying to charge a bit of Uber and stop the advantage. Jub is trying to get a bit of a post, but nicely done by Nano, just kind of coming in from the flank and just picking him off there. Disgruntled Cow is trying to march forward, get a significant amount of damage off on Runx, but not enough to take him out. Man is still alive, surprisingly so, and they keep insisting on going for the soldier pocket. Rydercycle coming in from the side now, trying to get a bit more damage off them. Maybe with the fires, it's just enough to pick off the scout, and it looks like they might be able to mount resistance on the second point here. Solar Light and Runx are sort of debating if they want to exit through the corridor, but it seems to be that they might just be waiting for a team to sort of regroup with them, and the stickies on the wall seem to suggest that.
Yeah, it's probably the wise play to do as Nano does a good job spying those stickies, pushing them back not to die to them. Purple he's onto the regular flamethrower off from he was on the, what do you want to call it, the back burner, as Purple does go down there. Nice job from Nano as Ryder's going to be pushing out onto this midpoint. Got to make sure to keep his medic alive as Runyx actually getting caught out here. Actually, it might have been a drop as Ryder's going to be cleaning up some frags right now. Only 3 players left alive, and 2 of them are incredibly hurt. Jub is spotted right there, so he should be cleaned up as Times2 is on the back cap. Jub, if he wanted to, if he could try to contest this midpoint, he might have been able to stop it, but Times2, no, not enough for him to be able to capture that. It does go down in the favor of the red team, but they did lose a couple players in that process, and they just got to make sure to keep Classy alive. That's the most important out of everything.
It seems to be, and it's what Ryder has kind of dedicated himself to here, just letting them kind of hide behind him. Blue team is still opting to do a bit of a regroup here before they everything actually seems to have stopped. Actually, hang on, now that I look at it.
Yeah, I believe we might be in a pause right here. We were having some lag issues earlier. I'm not sure if this is a server thing or not, but I do.
They're quickly having a pause to regroup and have a bit of a team discussion for Blue team. And then
okay. Well, that would
explain. So it's just a pause. Don't worry. We haven't had catastrophic server failure. It's just a pause.
Just a pause.
I was wondering if some kind of strategy was being employed. It's like, let's all regroup and just remain motionless in this door. Just gaze upon the world outside. But it is indeed a pause. So teams having a talk.
There's no philosophical revelation. It's just team talk.
It's probably them going like, all right, so they went 2 scouts, 2 pyros, a heavy, and a medic, and we have no idea what to do. This is an unstoppable force of TF2-ness. How do we counter this? This is uncounterable. It's
so
What do you
centered
do?
around Ryder. It's amazing.
What do you do?
Like, it's a heavy, and he has all of the support. His entire team is behind him.
It's unstoppable, like Donald Trump, No, no, but they're doing a good job. I mean, that's the one thing. The red team is doing a good job this half in particular about making sure to keep Ryder alive. And I mean, because that's the biggest thing is the first point they did a good job of keeping him alive. But as soon as they lost that first point, he kept going down so much. He needs his team to support him, getting aggressive, and Ryder doing just that, taking down purple. And we'll see if he can get one more. Jub goes down, and now it's just run. He's going to be a Runyx. He's going to be caught behind the second point. He just needs to go down, but actually keeping him alive is not the worst thing in the world. Classy did go down there from the medic, a medic v medic fight. And you go down with your entire team around you. That's probably not too good of an idea, but with 5 players alive and capturing the point, I guess that's not the worst thing in the world.
It's not the worst thing in the world, but still not the best of things in the world. The red team is now sort of like mounting an offensive push, it would seem. Going up sort of like the top, it would seem, or just kind of scouting out where the competition is. Jub's getting into a bit of encounter. He manages to pick off Jane Sable, which is quite nice. Ryder just there to kind of ward him back in an instant, which is good. But Blue seems to be rallied around defense, and Red is sort of like figuring out, I think, which way they want to go. They sort of like entering from the front here. Seem to be preferring the high route as Ryder is kind of leading the charge once again. Getting a nice little chunk of damage off on Jub, but now we have a Nano coming in from the bottom, and we also have a Scout sneaking under the point, trying to maybe go for a bit of a backup, as the blue team is actually advancing forward on the right corridor here. Seems to be we might have a bit of a pile up here, as there's a lot of the red team debating entering this way. Basically just figuring out their options, it would seem, and charging up that all-important Uber
hang
for
on.
me this final push.
Apparently there's been an issue on blue side. One of the scouts has disconnected. Sadly, he crashed out. So I think we may see a pause here in a second again.
So that was what the pause was for, I believe.
No,
That happened 90.
He paused to try and fix the scenario, but then he crashed out. But it's okay, he's back in the game, and obviously we're in need of pause now.
Oh, okay. So we're just going to continue then, I guess.
So here we go. It looks like they want to get on. Both medics are sitting at 100%. Nano is going to go into the lower area with the Pyro class. Solar's going to try to contest him. I'm not sure who's going to come out on top of that. Solar not able to connect with any of his pipes right there, but Nano is eating a couple of those rollers. This Ryder jumping in here, doing so much damage, but the Uber does finally get popped off onto the blue team, but only 3 players left to defend, but the red team down so incredibly low. Scout Jane trying to dance for their life as Z is going to come back in here. Down goes the medic. Ryder still alive, but ×3 onto the point. As nobody was focusing it. Nice job there, as red team will take the first round in this half, in the first round of this game for them.
That was incredibly nicely done. They were all only alive with a sliver of health again, but there's just not enough focus on the few surviving members, it would appear. All it would have taken is just a little extra pot shot on either of them, and that would have been enough.
And so here we come out onto the second mid-fight of the second half as the red team maybe grabbing some momentum. Maybe they're going to be able to continue to push forward here as Tennis Scout does go down, though. A lot, actually, as I say, there are 3 players dead on this mid-fight. And there you go. Blue team looking incredibly good, and they might just end this off here as it is a best of 5, and they are currently sitting at 4 wins.
They do indeed have the chance for it. They seem to be pushing it and kind of grouping together. Red team's really going to need to rally together a little more. Rydercycle again just kind of leading the charge here, but on his own, he's simply going to be overwhelmed by a amount of fire. Lasting surprisingly long there, but unfortunately just too much damage coming in his general direction. And the blue team is really just grouped up. Red team only coming out 1 by 1, which really isn't too great considering these circumstances. They need to group together a hell of a lot faster and get out on that point, because blue team's going to have an easy cap of the second there. And it was very nicely done from them.
Well, if the red team needs a rallying cry, they can say Dreg Evex, who just donated $10. So thank you so much for that donation here, as the red team needs a little bit of inspiration here on this final point, as they are sitting at an uber disadvantage. They do have a level 2 gun up. Jane has to be careful not to suicide here. That was a really awkward push from her, pushing up on that right-hand side, as Cerny and as well as the both scouts sitting on the river side. And so we'll see what the red team can do, as they currently are down a player for the next 10 seconds.
They may be down a player, but they now have a sentry on their side, which is an interesting development. Disgruntled Tennis Cow has actually built that up, dedicated to the job of defending that last point as the blue team is coming around from the higher up corridors. Nano just barely escaping there from an onslaught of stickies being thrown his way. The blue team seems to be gearing up to go once again. Their medic is ready with a charge. It's all just a matter of time if he's going to like charge in now, and it appears that red team is just barely off their Uber, so if they go in now then they can have a significant advantage. They seem to be just poking a little bit forward again. Blue team sort of like unsure how to proceed in this scenario. Sticky's just kind of being lobbed into the corridors and just kind of warding them back as the team is very clearly rallied together, but needs to take a bit of action. Rydercycle is hopping in there to do a good little chip of damage, being pursued by the demo and unfortunately being taken out as he tries to get out with his retreat. Red team seems to be in a little trouble now as most of their team is down, and it's really going to come down to this sentry trying to put in some work. Unfortunately, Solar is completely aware of it. He's going to take it down on the way over to the point, and he is going to be able to cap that point. Very nicely done by the blue team there. Very like organized push, and despite the red team's best efforts and that with that dedicated engineer, it simply wasn't enough for their might.
If only he had like a Wrangler and a rescue ranger, maybe then. And if he was France, I don't know, something like that.
Some kind of Sigafoo save.
But congratulations all around here, as that is going to end. This is first to 5. I'm pretty sure I think they may just be playing for fun.
Yeah, it's first to 5.
First to 5. Okay.
Different.
No, but they would have won because they got 4 in the first round, so that'd be 5. Yeah.
Yes, there's been a bit. So if we're doing first to 5, so they've won. It's just the servers. The servers have been set to NA standards. The confusions. Obviously, we've just recently had to set up the server in a hurry, so sadly we couldn't get the configs we wanted in. But that's it. Obviously, they're now playing for fun. I'll inform them. But we'll start to pull some people in here and have some after-game talk. But I'll quickly let them know that obviously we are. But it was certainly a very interesting match.
Yeah, very, very back and forth. Especially that first round in particular I think it went on for like 10 minutes of just like, I think we went back and forth between each player's final points just a few times. And yeah, I'm glad to see each team was able to get on the board, which is actually like, even in close matches, it can be surprisingly one-sided on the scoreboard, despite being a fairly close match, just because of the way TF2 works. It seems, just that momentum tends to work out.
No, these are definitely some intense matches, like despite what the scoreboard may say. It's just really interesting to watch unfold because it was very evenly matched and there was so much back and forth. Those battles for the second points in particular really just stood out for me. Like the amount of pushes and just pokes that would happen on those, getting that damage in before those final pushes and just trying to dominate one team over the other. It was just really nice to play, and you could see the strategy sort of developing as the teams played more and more rounds. Like particularly so the rally around Rydercycle still. It's like, my God, that man has a lot of support. But it was really interesting to see both teams just trying to play their strengths and weaknesses. And it made for some really exciting matches, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. So hopefully we'll be able to get a couple of players in here to be able to do this. And
I'm just trying to talk out blue from continued rampage. They seem determined to keep playing, even though the matches are over. They've won. They just won't give up. I'm slightly tempted to let them keep going. Do we keep letting them go? Should we just see who wins this round? And then we'll finally pull them away. I think we'll see who wins this round, and then we'll finally. I think we'll call it quits. We'll call it quits. Obviously, it's getting later now, and obviously we've still got the pub event and the giveaway. So obviously, Runyx's team has won. Congratulations to them. I'll quickly grab Runyx here and drag him in here, and we can quickly have a quick word with him.
Let's bring on some of the team. Congratulations to Runyx's team. They've played consistently well this evening and truly some incredible performances. Their team is just really, really coordinated. And from what I understand, they have a lot of experience fighting together. So good game to those guys.
How do you think the match went?
Hi. Hello. I think that went pretty well. It was really balanced at first. But I don't know what happened. We just won, I think.
The victory was the victory was ours.
That team was really good.
Do you think that was it they were focusing too much on Rydercycle?
I don't know.
I think that as much as they try to focus on saving Rydercycle, their savior, I think that they possibly could have focused more on getting some of the other players up. And I think that's probably what cost them the match.
Well, Rydercycle definitely was the kingpin to the strategy from what we've observed tonight.
Then again, if you have a good player, just ride them to their death, just get on their back and say go.
Runyx back, and we'll get Ryder in and get his opinion on it. If we can quickly grab him here.
They don't call him Rydercycle for nothing.
Yeah. Hey, Rydercycle, how do you think the match went?
Oh, hey. The match went pretty well, I think. Given we lost, but I compared to other games that these guys just wiped, I think we held our own pretty well.
So how did you? I got an idea for you, Ryder, for your next time you play in this situation. All right, let me know what you think of this.
Okay. 2
pyros, 2 scouts, and they just literally stand around you on heavy. Like the whole point is to keep you, because that seems to be your downfall as a team. Is when you died, your team struggled, but if you kept alive, your team should just focused on keeping you alive. Deathfall.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like that. Yeah. But yeah, I think it was just because like the heavy is such a the meat of the team. When the heavy dies, like the team is dead for a little bit. I feel like.
No, absolutely, and it's one of those things that it seemed like when you weren't there leading the charge for your team, or if your team wasn't there. I mean, then again, sometimes you would just pick up like 3K because you're a heavy in your close quarters and like fully revved up against like a couple people and just tear them to pieces 1v1. So, but no, it was a good game. And I mean, did you enjoy playing it, getting all the way to the finals?
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, my sandwich is a little cold now. It's kind of been gone for a while, but don't worry, I'll go microwave that a bit.
Are you going to be joining us for the pub event we're now going to be setting up?
Yeah, sure, I'll be there.
Okay, nice. It's going to be good to see you. Obviously, I think we'll quickly grab Solo Light here to get his idea on the matches, and then I think we'll probably be wrapping it up soonish if we want to be getting on. Solo Light quickly disappeared there. I don't think we'll be able to quickly grab Classy instead, the medic from the Riders team. Hey, Classy, how do you think the match went?
It certainly went impressive because. Like, I saw how they play as wins. They pretty much rolled all of them, and the fact that we even managed to get a score, let alone try to succeed, it was pretty surprising in the end.
You did some really good medic dodging and diving, especially when you danced around that rock toward the end there.
It was quite the dance, but it takes 2 to tango,
Yeah. Eventually you got caught out there. The scout just couldn't save you there. You just ended up dropping. But you were pretty close to getting over there.
Yeah, they absolutely love me as soon as I got their sights set on me. It's just they're the mosquitoes, I'm the buffet.
Or in TF2 talk, you're the medic. Just you're the medic.
Just in its simplicity.
Yep.
Medics have indeed a tough time when it comes to Team Fortress 2.
Absolutely.
But then you just feel like the prettiest girl in the room. So, you got that going for you too. Like, you get something like that. I don't know. But
I am the belle of the ball.
It
Anyway,
was absolutely incredible performance tonight, though. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Sorry, GameCam, you were saying.
I was just going to say, obviously, we'll hope to see you at the event, and we'll probably go quickly have a quick talk here, and then we'll probably wrap it up and start We'll wrap up this the finals here, and then we'll move on to the pub event.
All right.
Start getting that set up because it's going to be good. Because obviously we've got some items to give away and some people and custom maps to play, so it's going to be good. So I hope to see you there, Classy, and I'll quickly move you back to your.
Sounds like some fun times.
Natural habitat.
All the best, Classy.
Sigafoo, what do you think was your favorite play of the match?
Favorite play of the match? I think my favorite play was probably, there's so many good ones. I think it was the first push, the first point at the first round that ended. Just because I always enjoy clinical pushes. I think there's also another one that happened, like I think from like the defense from like the from last. I can't remember the exact place, but there's 2 times where there's like just really nice looking team wipes, and those happen because of good coordinated play, and I always just find that to be the most satisfying to watch. So definitely those are the ones that stood out to me.
Interesting. What do you think, Artie? What was your favorite?
Well, for me, I like the moments where you could quite clearly see it as like one of the teams is conniving and trying to come up with like the most cunning of strategies. And I absolutely love when like Runyx's team took the high ground and just kind of sat up there and waited for Rydercycle's team to come through the corridor. It was just very funny to watch that unfold for me. It's like they're trying to be so sneaky, and you can just see them all like sort of wringing their hands together, almost like this is gonna be great. It was just really entertaining to have that moment unfold for me, I'd say.
That's really good. I do admit mine has to probably be when Defnol got the tube on the Cerny as he tried to go for the back cap. I thought that was probably my favorite. When you can see him, he was almost to the edge. I thought he was going to make it, and then just gets nailed with a tube there, which gets completely wiped out. It's ridiculous. I thought there was so many good moments in that match. I think we're hopefully going to try and make a montage, well not montage, but like highlights video at some point, and I think it's definitely going to be very, very good.